Hi everyone and welcome. I can see people are just joining. Welcome to March's Lean Library product update, the special product update where we're talking about Lean Library Workspace and how you can put your library at the heart of every research journey and every step of that journey with Workspace. We'll give people a minute to join. As I can see, those numbers are jumping. And just housekeeping, we will do some more housekeeping in a second, but just some quick housekeeping, this is being recorded. Okay, your moderator today is Nicole, who's you can see her, but she's logged in as Technology from Sage. So Nicole, next slide, please, and then I'll start doing housekeeping while we wait for people to join. Oh, I say next slide. It's me driving the deck. I'm being stupid. Here we go. So your speakers today, and I've actually left one off, is Becca Richards, who is actually our head of product for Lean Library. This is an outdated slide. So you can see Becca on the screen. Give us a wave, Becca. Myself, Amy Sparrow, the marketing director at Lean Library and at Technology from Sage, and also Sufyan. So Sufyan can wave. He's not on the screen. There we are. And Sufyan's going to be doing the lengthy portion of today's webinar, which is the demo of the extension of all these upcoming features. So a bit of housekeeping, because we will give it a minute, as I can see numbers are still climbing a little bit. So first of all, welcome. If you can hear us, can you let me know in the chat or the Q&A box, introduce yourselves in the chat. If you can't, or if you can't see the slides, please let me know. So we'll give it a second, just check everyone can hear and see us. And if you can't hear or if you're having troubles, leave Zoom, rejoin, and it prompts you to select computer audio, join with computer audio when you join. Okay, I can see people here. That's great. Thank you very much. And please use the Q&A box throughout. We'll either answer them directly, so Nicole, our moderator, will reply via the Q&A box, or we'll save them for the question time at the end, and there's lots of times for questions at the end. So yeah, please get chatty. And we have some prepared to get chatty because we might ask you to clarify on your question. Raise your hand if you want to speak to us directly, and Nicole can unmute you, and we might call on you to expand on something. And yes, the session is being recorded and will automatically send to you via Zoom, maybe either tomorrow or the next day. So you'll get all the recording and anything left over from the Q&A. Okay, so I think that's enough time, so let's kick off. So the agenda today is I'm going to give a bit of an intro as to what Lean Library Workspace is. I'm aware some people on this call would have maybe spoken to one of the development managers about it. Some people may know very little about it. So I'm going to hand over to Becca to talk about the whole product offering and how, with the launch of Lean Library Workspace, we're going to have this ecosystem of tools that offer end-to-end support across that entire research workflow. The bulk of the session is with Sufyan, so the demo, and then a CTA from me, or a call to action from me, is how you're going to turn it on for your users, how it works, when it launches, and then time for Q&A at the end. So, checking, Nicole, that there was no chat or questions that people couldn't hear that everyone could see.
All good.
All good, great. Let's kick off. So, what is Lean Library Workspace? So, Lean Library Workspace puts your library at the heart of every research journey. So what does the offering do? It's a new offering from Lean Library that supports the library and your users beyond the sort of traditional parts of the workflow that Lean Library supported, which was content discovery, access, and library guidance. It takes them into reference management, collaboration on projects, annotating resources, and authoring with ease. So it goes across that whole research workflow, and really it brings actionable insights and data back to the library. So what is it physically? It's an end-to-end tool for students and researchers. So Lean Library Workspace will launch with a rebranded user website. If you see that asterisk there, it's quite small on your screen, is what is currently the Cywell website, which Technology from Sage acquired in 2022. And it connects that to the browser extension, a new browser extension functionality, which is what we'll be talking about today, and Google Docs and Microsoft Word add-ons, which are currently the Cywell add-ons that are writing tools. It's all connected through. And so this provides users with support across that entire workflow for an uninterrupted research rhythm. There's no jumping between different tools for different purposes, not using one reference manager, one access broker, one annotation tool, one collaborative project tool. It's just that one full end-to-end smooth experience. So for libraries, the benefits here is really about the deeper and actual insights you're going to get into both your users and research workflows that were maybe more previously unseen. It also gives you, it helps you equip students with tools that enhance their student success, particularly onboarding undergrad students when they don't have those skills, they don't have those reference management skills or citation skills, they're not sure how to do this, it's a steep learning curve. And it also boosts research output. So for more experienced researchers who, perhaps have to look at a great quantity of research with a much bigger reference library, it really saves them a massive amount of time. The third benefit here is really about reducing student overwhelm with this one end-to-end tool for that entire research workflow. We spoke to some libraries, particularly in the UK recently, who were saying the plethora of tools they're having to teach students, undergrad students in particular, who are onboarding, is just massive. It's overload, it's overwhelm, and having that one really onboarding tool helps. And lastly, it's about maximizing budgets. So we know it's a stricter and stricter budgetary landscape in the library world. And this can help them maximize budgets by saving on other reference management software. And then for the students and researchers, what a tool like Lean Library does, or Lean Library Workspace does, is threefold. So one, they can instantly discover, access, and save resources using the Lean Library browser extension. Two, they can effortlessly manage references, annotate resources, and collaborate with peers on projects. And then three, ultimately, they can write, cite, and author their work smarter and faster. That's whether that's an essay, their undergrad research project, or right up to an early career researcher or later career researcher's big piece of research or their article. So with that, I'm handing over to Becca about what Workspace brings us as the ecosystem of tools.
Amazing. Thanks so much, Amy. Can we get the next slide, please? I'll just kick things off. Fantastic. So with the launch of Lean Library Workspace, we are going to be bringing a sort of multi-environment ecosystem of tools to the Lean Library value proposition. Many of these have come over from the sort of the Cywil sort of environment, but obviously we'll be rebranding and integrating all of that into the Lean Library sphere. And it includes everything that you see here on this slide. So to start from the top, we've migrated like for like all of the Cywil extension, like pre-existing Cywil extension functionality into the Lean Library extension. So all of that rich sort of reference management functionality now exists within Lean Library if you wish to turn it on. And this really creates a single powerful browser extension for research, as Amy was mentioning, that sort of one-stop shop that your users can use and your library can support. And this means that your users will get sort of really deep support from your library when they need it, where they need it. And secondly, we are rebranding the Cywil.com website and reference management platform, which we sort of envision as being the Lean Library end user hub. So we envision that this is where they will go, not only to like manage their references, but in the future we want to build out its functionality to just go beyond that sort of that reference management capability as well. And then sort of from the website, users can sort of deep dive on the references they've saved. They can make use of those collaboration tools, so they can collaborate with their peers on shared projects and manage their resources, organize their content that they've saved to their reference management library. And the rebranded Lean Library Workspace and Google, the Lean Library Workspace Google Docs and web plugins provide smart citation support directly into the environments where your users are writing their essays or their dissertations or their sort of their research, whatever it might be. And finally, we'll be reporting on usage of these features and activities directly into the librarian dashboard for sort of immediate at your fingertips insights for the extension features initially. And this is where you can also sort of configure and customize what your users see when they use the extension. So you can sort of toggle on the Cywheel functionality here. And this, we believe, sort of culminates into sort of that full end-to-end support across the entire research workflow for that uninterrupted sort of research rhythm for your users, and provides sort of like, or allows you to sort of reach your users, expand the reach of your library where your users have built behaviors. So if we could go on to the next slide, I'll talk about each of these sort of sections in a little bit more detail. So with the browser extension, as I mentioned, this is the sort of the like-for-like migration of the reference management features into Lean Library. So from here, the extension features sort of allow users to discover and access content, as is, you know, the case with Lean Library. Those are the sort of the functionalities that you'll be very familiar with. But they can also, from the extension now, save references, make highlights and annotations across the open web while they're conducting their research without having to jump between tools, as Amy mentioned. And these features were specifically integrated and designed to work seamlessly with that pre-existing Lean Library functionality. And if we could go on to the next slide, please. So the Lean Library Workspace website, we very much envision this, as I said, as the kind of the central end user hub. And there will be a full sort of rebrand on this website, and we'll be sort of switching the domain name from cywheel.com to workspace.leanlibrary.com and rebranding it all to Lean Library. This will very much be the sort of the source of all product information, both for Lean Library and Lean Library Workspace, including the benefits for new users, which they'll be able to find on a landing page, which I'll show you a quick video of very shortly. They can also sort of log into their Workspace account from here to manage their work. And this is also the sort of the core reference management portal that will be sort of connected to the extension as well. So it's a very seamless connection process, which I'm sure Soph will be showing you soon. And then the nice thing about Workspace as well is that it's cloud-based. The storage is cloud-based, meaning that users can sort of access their references anywhere, anytime. If we could go on to the next slide, please. I'll just show you a quick video of what this looks like. So this is our logged out homepage.
Let me check I'm pressing play correctly. There we go.
There we go. It's moving. Fantastic. Yeah. So this is where users, as I said, they can find out all of the information they need on the product, why they should be using it. It's a bit of sort of promotion for the users themselves, that they can find themselves without you needing to teach them sort of why they should be using this and what to do. Has the video paused? Amy?
I'm so sorry. I think it might be my Wi-Fi.
Oh, that's there? Okay. It's going.
Okay.
But obviously from the website, users can find out about like this ecosystem that I've been talking about, all of the tools that are at their fingertips, where to download them, what the benefits are, as you can see here, all of the different sort of features that they can really leverage to boost their research, all the way from the extension features to the plugins. They can get a sense of what other people, their peers, are saying about the product. And there are calls to actions throughout to download the content. So again, you know, the product is pushing itself. And from here, they can log in. This is what the actual website, like the logged in view, looks like. This is where the users will have all of their references saved, as you can see here. They can add tags to further manage their references. They can add notes directly within the web app, or this is where their notes will be saved when they save them within the extension. They can get content suggestions, see sort of activity on their shared projects, and they can also import their reference library. So for your researchers who have already built up like a rich sort of backlog of data, it's very easy to import from a number of different sources, whether it's other reference managers such as Zotero, Mendeley, as you can see here. There's a number of different ways that users can upload from their research library and upload it into Workspace. Fantastic. I think that's the end. And if we could go on to the next slide, I'll just talk quickly about the plugins or the add-ons, call them. So these are accessible within Google Docs and Microsoft Word. So the benefit of these is to allow your users to cite more accurately, to generate bibliographies at pace. So regardless of sort of what research level you sit at, your users are sitting at, whether they're undergraduate or PhD students, they'll be able to leverage over 7,000 citation styles, and not have to sort of create these bibliographies and inline citations manually. So it saves a lot of time. If we could go on to the next slide, please. I'll just talk quickly about the dashboard. I'm sure many of you are familiar with our librarian dashboard. This is obviously where you can configure, as I said, whether you want to sort of turn Lean Library Workspace on or off. And this is also where you'll be getting those at your fingertips insights on, how many references your users have cited, how many highlights and annotations they've made. I'd also just like to sort of say that one theme of work that we'll be looking at sort of in depth for the rest of the year is on really sort of deepening the content insights that we provide to you. So we'll be sort of leveraging all of the data that we get from Workspace and providing even deeper insights on like the types of content that your users are accessing, or exactly which content items your users are saving, and what they're making highlights and annotations on. And then I think that's the end of my section. So I think I can hand over to Saf for the exciting bit, which is the actual product demo.
I'll stop sharing stuff.
Thank you so much. Let me share my screen. Hopefully this works. How's that for everyone? Can everybody see that okay?
Yeah.
Cool. Thank you so much, Becca, for quickly giving an overview on how the Lean Library Workspace extension works. First and foremost, I'm super excited to share it with you guys. I'll fly through it. I know we're on a bit of a time, but I'll hopefully, if you have any questions, please share them in the box and we'll get back to you on those as well. So the perspective I'm going to show you guys of the Lean Library Workspace extension is as a new user. I've just installed the extension for the first time. So typically the first thing that you would do is you would choose your institution. And if you're a user that doesn't have an institution, then there's always our Lean Library open option as well. So for us, we'll be using University of Make Believe, as this is our own testing institution. You'll have a little splash screen to kind of direct you to pin the extension to your toolbar, which is very important. Once that's done, you will then be presented with this little onboarding page, which will be like a little short video / GIF that shows you all the main features of Lean Library Workspace. And this is where you have the options to either choose if you want to sign up, if you want to dismiss this altogether, or if you already have an account. And that will direct you to the authentication page that Becca also showed you as well in the video previously. So for this example, I already have an account. So this will direct me straight away to the web app where everything will be living. And then when you come back to the tab for the extension, you will see this option here called Lean Library Workspace, of course. And this is where you can see that your account has successfully connected to the extension. It'll show you your details. You can sign out from here if you wish to log into another account. And you can also be directed straight to the Workspace website as well. So that's as simple as authentication will get. So now, of course, I'm sure you're curious, okay, how will we be saving references, as that's pretty much the main thing. So there are a couple of ways, and I'm going to show you in a couple of different discovery providers. The most popular one being Google Scholar. Over here, there are a couple of things that can happen. So you either save a reference by itself, so saving a single reference, or you could either save multiple references that are detected on a page. I want you to keep that in mind. So over here, you'd think that we've got loads of different examples of references that we could save, loads of different articles and search results, but you want to just choose one specific one. So right at the very top, we've got the first example. I want to draw your attention to the option that we have underneath the search results. So we've got an option here called Cite. And this typically shows all the bibtext of that specific search result. And you will see that we have Lean Library Workspace at the very bottom over here. When we click this, what this does is it will automatically open the side tray, hopefully in a moment. We open the side tray and it will show you that you have an option. Well, I've already saved this reference. Let me try a different one. Sorry. Let's try this second one over here. So Cite, Lean Library Workspace, the same thing over here. I must have saved all these references. Let's try a different example altogether, actually. Let's try science education. So if we go to Cite, we go to Lean Library Workspace, and this is what I was trying to show you guys. So what it will do is it will capture this metadata and it will allow you to save this reference as by itself. So it won't detect everything else on the page, and you have this one option. So when you click on the desired reference, at the very bottom, you now have an option to save it to your project. So projects are essentially categories in where you can pile up all your different references. So for this demo, I've created a personal project over here, but you can also create your projects directly from here as well. So you don't have to keep going back to the Workspace app to create these projects. You can do it all quickly straight from here without having to, go around in circles. So I'd like to save this particular reference to my personal project. And then when I click on Add, it will show me this little save state to show me that I've successfully saved this to my project. And then if I click on Workspace over here, it will direct me straight to that example over here. So that's just saving a single reference. The same thing applies. So what you've just seen about actually saving the reference part in the side tray also applies when you're actually on an article page. But before we get there, I'd like to quickly just show you guys what I mentioned before about multiple references. So there's multiple references that can be detected on this page. If I could draw your attention to the little number 10 in the toolbar icon over here. And what that's doing is indicating to the user that there's 10 references that have been detected on the page and you can save them. So if I click on over here, let me just do this. So here we are. So we've got 10 different references that have been detected on the page, and I can either choose the single ones, I could select them all, or I could just choose a couple that I think that are relevant to whatever my research is and save that to my project over here. So if we do that, click on Add, and then while it's loading, we'll see a little save state that will show the user again that these have been saved, and it will also provide them a link that will direct them straight to that project so that they can see it in the Workspace app. So that's just this. So that's showing you how we can save a single reference, saving multiple references just on Google Scholar. But just for another example, I'll show you how it also works on nature.com. So if I could just refresh this page, nature.com for my search result has given us 50 examples. So we've got a little number 50 in the corner that's showing us a little indicator of that's how many things, how many references that are available to be saved. So let's but just so that I'm not repeating what I'm showing you guys, let's go into the first example to give you an example of what it's like looking at a single article by itself. So very similar to how we were on Google Scholar, it will the little toolbar icon over here will show you that there's one reference that can be saved. If I click on this, same thing. I can click on that reference, choose my project. We made personal project over here and click on Add, and exactly the same thing. But the difference is this is the save state that you will see. So you'll see a couple of things happening here. You'll see an option for highlight and annotate. You'll see an option to be directed to the workspace website. And then you also have import cited articles. So what this will do is this will detect the references that have also been referenced within the article and allow the user to also save them to their projects as well, because that might be useful. So if you click on import cited article, it's detected that it looks for the DOIs and the PMIDs, and sometimes they're not all available on the web page. But for this example, we've got 9 that have been found, and we can, same things, just like multiple references, do the exact same thing, choose which ones we prefer that might be relevant, click on our project, and click on add. And it's as simple as that. And that's that. So let me now direct your attention to the highlight and annotate actual feature. So we've covered the authentication part, we've covered the single references, the multiple references, and import cited articles. And now this is kind of the big one, the one that I'm really excited to show you guys, which is highlight and annotate. So what we would typically do here is exactly the same. You don't necessarily have to save the reference first, because highlight and annotate is usually enabled by default. And the way you know this is if you highlight some text on an article, you will see this little color palette open. But just to make sure everything's working okay, let's save this reference. So, oh, I've already saved this one, showing you that I've already been ahead of the game. So let's highlight some text, for example. So if I highlight this piece, I'd like to highlight it in orange. You'll see a little loading indicator to let you know that something's happening in the background. And from here, I can also make a comment. So if I make a comment saying, this demo is going great, and then we click save, and then you see a little preview over here as well. But what you also notice is that we can also make some more highlights. So if I scroll to the bottom of the page, and there's a reason why I'm doing this, just to make another highlight. So let's do this over here. Let's do it in green this time. And let's say comment 2. So you'll notice that, while it's loading, it grays out, it indicates to the user that something's happening, and then you will see a little toast message that also says that the note has been saved. Now, if you want to see all your highlights and notes all together, you can open the side tray over here, and you will see them all nicely on the side. So what's really good about this is that when you have projects, you can also share projects with other peers. So, for example, if there's a project that you and a team member are working on, and you're working on this specific article, I can make comments and so can you. So we can all collaborate together on this one article, and we'll be able to see the timestamps, the comments, when they've been made. And the cool thing is, say that there's an extremely large article that you guys are all collaborating on, and you want to jump to a comment, which is one of the reasons why I jumped to the very bottom for this example. So with this first highlight at the top, the orange one, where I mentioned the demo is great, if you click on the little 3 dots, there's an option to jump to highlight. And what that does is it will direct the user straight to exactly where that highlight is, rather than you having to keep scrolling, trying to figure out where it is, and it makes it so much more easier. What you can also do from here is also delete the annotations or delete the highlights, and also copy the highlights. And what's also important to note is that me being the owner of the project, for example, only I can edit and delete my own comments. I can't, for example, delete somebody else's comments, or if somebody else who's collaborating on this project and on this article, they can't, delete somebody else's comments to cause any kind of confusion. But yeah, you can also do that from here as well. So if I click on the actual highlight itself, it will show that little preview. From here, if I click on the little 3 dots, I can quickly enable and disable the highlight and annotate feature altogether. I can, same with the redirection links, I can be directed to the Workspace app where I can see that highlight and the notes that I've made. And the same thing, like in the side tray, you can edit and delete these annotations as well. Super quick and super easy. And those things are also reflected in the side tray as well. But there, in a nutshell, that's pretty much highlight and annotate. If you have any questions, let me know in the chat. I've also noticed that my camera has decided to panic and turn itself off, so I do apologize. But thank you so much. I guess I'll hand it back to Amy.
Thank you so much, Saf. And if you stop sharing, I've just got one more slide and then we're on to the Q&A. So let me jump in, share. Okay, so what's next? What are the next steps? So this hasn't launched yet. And when you turn it on for your institution, it's twofold. So one, this is completely opt-in. So it's not going to, when we do launch, nothing's going to happen immediately for your users or for your library. We appreciate that rolling something like this, rolling out something like this might be, you might want to do it at a particular time of year or at the start of your academic year. So nothing happens on launch immediately to you, to your users. But step one is that you've got to request authentication setup, and that's to the Workspace website. So when Becca spoke about the Workspace website as the main hub and showed that video of the mock-ups of it, showed that video of what it will look like when it does go live, your users will have to create their own account on there to have their own personal workspace to save their references, etc. So to do that, they need to authenticate as part of your institution. And that can be done by IP or SSO. So your choice, and how that gets set up is you just raise a ticket with support, and our support team will set that up for you. You can go ahead and raise a support ticket now if you want to do that. So ahead of launch, we can start getting you set up with that so that you can then do step two when you want to do, when you're ready, whenever you're ready to do it. So step two is toggling this on, and it's just done via the librarian dashboard where you toggle on other integrations and other settings. So once your authentication is set up, once that's complete, you get to choose whenever you want to turn this on. And toggling on, which is quite literally a toggle, is when those extension features that Saf just demonstrated for us will appear for your users. So that link to the Workspace website, that prompt to create their Workspace account, etc., will start showing. And if they want to use highlight and annotate or any of those other cool features, they'll be prompted to create an account. Yeah, so you can do it whenever you want. And I think that is it. I'm going to stop sharing so we can see our faces for the questions, because I know some questions were answered in the Q&A, but I think let's read them out anyway in the chat. But let's read them out anyway in case someone's not read through. So Nicole, any questions as they come in?
Yeah, there's a few here. So what type of authentication does Workspace support? Is it part of the UK Federation so users can use their institution IDP, or is a separate account solely created for Lean Library Workspace?
So it is, well, I'll start answering, but Becca, please do jump in if you want to. So users have to create their own Workspace account with email address and password, or through SSO if you choose to set up institutional SSO. Username and password if you choose IP. Sorry, email and password if you choose IP. That is because they need their own personal area for their data, their personal library, and especially if it's a researcher who's had many years of a library building up, they're going to need that personal access as well. Does that answer your question? Or Becca, is there anything to add to that?
Maybe, yeah, just to say that to authenticate your users to be able to be part of that sort of institutional grouping, as Amy said, the two methods are like the sort of the SSO and the IP. The IP, they'll be allowed sort of like a kind of a wandering grace period. So if they leave your IP, they'll stay logged in and sort of part of that institution for a number of days, like quite a long time, like half a year or something like that. And then they'll have to obviously return to re-authenticate as part of like the IP sign in, and you can use a combination of the two. But yeah, feel free to unmute yourself if you have any further questions for us on that.
Yeah, and then the next question is, can I share a link to a comment via social media or email, or only to collaborators who also have the extension installed?
Perhaps I can answer this one. So at the moment, you would need to be a collaborator within a project to be able to see these notes. But at the moment, we don't support being able to share links to specific comments. But I think that's an absolutely great idea. Thank you for sharing.
Perfect. And then the next question, to prevent Lean Library Workspace extension from appearing on or interfering with Google Documents and spreadsheets, should users be instructed to display on click?
Yeah, I can take that one. I'm not quite sure I know what you mean by display on click, but for the Lean Library Workspace, oh, this is about the extension. Sorry, apologies. I was thinking of our add-ins. Yeah, so there's full control that's sort of baked into the Lean Library extension for your users on sort of what sort of like where the extension can or cannot appear. So we have a sort of an individual block domains functionality, if you like, that the user can sort of have like immediate access to. So, you know, they can decide to block the extension on a particular site or domain, and then, you know, they can do that just temporarily. They can turn it back on. It's very easy to use. So they could take advantage of that if they wanted to just pause it on a certain domain for a while. There's also a pause, like a global pause button for the extension too, if they just wanted to do that for like a short period.
Yeah, great. And then going back to the chat, there was a few questions. Going back to the one on students and researchers often use Gen AI to write and edit text. Will you support popular AI integrations into the collaborative workspace? And what are your views on the role of AI within other aspects of the workspace?
Yeah, so I answered this a little bit in the chat, just to kind of just as a holding, because I think it's a really great question. This is something that we're actively exploring this year. So we are looking at sort of active integrations with third-party partners, sort of many of whom are very active within the scholarly, like specifically within the scholarly communications space and like the sort of the library tech space, and publishing. They work with a lot of publishers as well. So we can definitely sort of circulate more information on this later in the year. But just to say that there are a number of different sort of like tools and methods through which we are currently gathering discovery on. You might have actually seen a survey go out that we were asking, where we were asking sort of libraries for their input on, you know, how they're sort of approaching sort of AI tools, you know, the sort of the role of the library within the sort of institutional teaching of AI and using AI. So this is something that I'd be also very interested in sort of doing more in-depth discovery with sort of like our partner libraries about. So if this is something that Sandra, maybe you wanted to talk about in more depth, it'd be great to sort of schedule like a sort of discovery call, and that goes for anyone who's also sort of, you know, grappling with these questions as well. But I just mentioned that we're looking at sort of related article functionality specifically for the Lean Library Workspace web app. Whether this comes sort of this year or maybe sort of like in the next year as well, that's sort of like we're just kind of deciding that at the moment, because we're also looking at AI features for the actual Lean Library extension as well. So it just depends where we think will sort of have the biggest impact for yourselves and your users as well. But again, you know, I think my inbox is always open. So if you have any sort of thoughts on this, please do reach out. As I said, it's something we're actively doing a sort of partner discovery on at the moment. And yeah, maybe I'll reach out just to sort of hear your thoughts too.
Great. And another question, will we need to set up a data processing agreement like GDPR?
Amy, do you want to take this one?
Yeah, I can take this one. No, Sandra, we don't. So there will be, so the privacy policy and the data processing that's on the website is different to obviously just the extension, which collects no personal data whatsoever. So there are terms that when a user signs up to create the account, they are shown those user terms as well. And the Lean Library Workspace portion, if you do choose to toggle it on, those terms are updated and we'll share those with you. So when you go to toggle them, they're getting updated on our website. So the terms, our privacy policy changes a bit, but no agreement is needed. It's covered under that.
I also noticed another chat in the Q&A actually, which I don't think we got to, or maybe it disappeared, I'm not sure. I think Paul was asking about whether we can demonstrate the functionality of the Google Docs and Word plugins. I don't think we're going to have time for that now, but maybe Amy and Nicole, we could send around a little demo recording of it with the recording of this video after the session.
If it helps, I also shared some videos that we've got for the Google Docs and Word add-in. But yeah, we can also do what Becca suggested.
Fab, let's do it. And really what they do in a nutshell is a user can inject their whole bibliography or any they cite as they write that's coming from their workspace reference library saved into Google Docs. They're writing Google Docs or Microsoft Word if they're writing on that. Oh, you've already shared it, stuff. Perfect, thank you. They're in the chat, those links. We'll put them in the follow-up email too.
And another question just came in from Peter. Which discovery systems are supported?
So we don't have direct discovery system integrations within the Lean Library Workspace platform itself, but obviously, I'm sure as many of you are aware, we have direct integrations with all of the sort of the major discovery systems within the Lean Library Extension functionality for sort of access and alternatives functionality, as well as some of our sort of Lean Library Futures workflow tools, such as our sort of additional library search, and that's where we sort of hook up directly to the sort of like the search engine search results within Google Scholar, and show the sort of the mirrored version as it would appear in your sort of discovery layer. But yeah. Do we have any other questions? I'm just scanning the chat and the Q&A.
There's a comment from Regina Powers, which I know Regina's part of the early adopter for Lean Library Workspace. So Regina, we might come back to you offline on that question about the feedback about the extension or the test extension, the Google Documents. I think that's everything. Did we miss anything or any other questions? If not, just what you'll hear from us next, or what will happen next is, as always, when something launches, you'll get full release notes by email. There'll be a press release, sort of blog and support articles on our website, and it will keep doing updates in the newsletter. If you have any questions, please reach out to either support or to us. And I do really encourage everyone to request your support ticket, regardless of when you want to toggle it on. Request your support ticket as early as possible to get that first step of setup complete, which is the authentication setup on the website. You can get that done and then toggle on later. They don't have to be done at the same time. So you can just get that out of the way or get that ball rolling anyway. Particularly if you're looking into SSO, because that takes a little bit longer than IP setup does. And I'm actually going to pop in the chat. We have a support article that talks about the differences between the IP authentication and SSO authentication. So I'll put that in the chat as well. And Nicole, do you mind putting that in the follow-up email for me?
Yes, of course.
Fab. Cool. Well, thank you so much, everyone, for joining. If there doesn't seem to be anything else. Thanks very much, everyone. And thanks, Safian, for your great demo, and Becca. And we'll put these links that we shared in the follow-up email too. And we look forward to people getting ready to toggle it on. And it'll be in the coming weeks we're launching. Thanks so much for joining. Thanks, Becca.
Thank you, everybody.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.
Bye.